Hello, beautiful people. I'm Carla, and I'm here today to bring you some synonyms for common words. Today, I've got 7 words for children. You know, brats, little monsters, messy little creatures, rugrats, the little guys, children. It just might be an essay topic for your IELTS test, your TOEFL test, an exam you have to write for high school, or maybe you're tired of talking about your kids and you want other words to talk about them. It's possible. So let's look at the 7 words for today. The 7 words are youngsters, young people, the younger generation, adolescents, teenagers, juveniles, and minors. So what's a youngster? It's pretty easy. A youngster is just a young person. That's it. Any young person. What's young? I can't tell you that. I know people who are in their 70s, and I would still consider them to be young. So you have to decide. I think society would label a young person as someone maybe 20 or younger, maybe 25 or younger. I guess it depends on your culture. So let's look at some sentences for the word youngster. Sometimes more restriction can increase frustration in children, right? We're replacing children today. Instead of children, we can use the word youngster. Sometimes more restrictions can cause increased frustration in youngsters. If we usually ignore our children's bad habits, then they can't be good human beings in their future life. In this case, we can use youngsters instead of children. If we usually ignore our youngsters' bad habits, then they can't be good human beings in their future life. The next word is young people or the younger generation. Never draw attention upon children's main activities, then they might end up in bad company. If we never draw attention to the young people's main activities, then they might end up in bad company. We can also say the younger generation. In this case, we're talking about groups of people, right? Not just one specific child. If we never draw attention upon the young people's main activities, then they might end up in bad company. In some cases, children insist on doing things we're trying to keep away from them. I think you know this happens. In some cases, young people may insist on doing things we're trying to keep away from them. Or, in some cases, the younger generation may insist on doing these things we're trying to keep away from them. The next word is adolescent. An adolescent is a young person who's developing into an adult. This word can be used with the word teenager. A teenager is defined as someone who is between the ages of 13 and 19. This is typically the same age that people are developing into adults, so it works. Do you agree that children should help with housework? Do you agree that adolescents should help with housework? Do you agree that teenagers should help with housework? If we want to be a bit more colloquial, we can also use the word teen instead of teenagers. Do you agree that teens should help with housework? Sometimes more restrictions can cause increased frustration in children. Sometimes more restrictions can cause increased frustration in adolescents. Sometimes more restrictions can cause increased frustration in teenagers or teens. A juvenile is a person who's not yet old enough to be legally considered an adult. What does that mean? It means they have to be old enough that the law system, the legal system, considers them to be an adult. In the US, you are 18 when you are a legal adult. You can vote, you can buy cigarettes, you can get in big trouble and land yourself in prison if you do the wrong things. So this is a juvenile, someone who is under the age of adulthood. Let's look at some sentences. If we usually ignore our children's bad habits, then they can't be good human beings in their future life. If we usually ignore our juveniles' bad habits, then they can't be good human beings in their future life. Okay? Do you agree that children should help with housework? Do you agree that juveniles should help with housework? The word minor is very similar to juvenile, only it doesn't usually have so many legal ramifications, okay? So a minor is a person who's not yet old enough to have the rights of an adult. Basically the same thing as a juvenile. If we never draw attention upon our children's main activities, then they might end up in bad company. If we never draw attention upon the minors' main activities, then they may end up in bad company. In some cases, children may insist on doing things we're trying to keep away from them. In some cases, minors may insist on doing things we're trying to keep away from them. Can you believe we've already looked at 7 words for children? It's gone really fast for me. I don't know if it's gone fast for you. But the nice thing is, most of these words are completely interchangeable. The one thing I want to do is really clarify the difference in which words we choose. We have to remember that the words minor and juvenile are a bit more academic, are a bit more specific. Okay? The other words are much more general, much more easy to use. I don't refer to my children as my juveniles, okay? But I can refer to my children as my youngsters, my young people. My children are not adolescents, they're not teenagers, but if they were, I would say my teenagers. I wouldn't say my adolescents. The words the younger generation, adolescents, juveniles, and minors are more academic. Youngsters, young people, teenagers, these words, and teens, of course. These words are more colloquial, more spoken. They are fine to use on an English proficiency test, okay? But I'm giving you a lot of different choices, just in case you have a long exam to write or you just want more choices. If you like the way that I explained everything and you think you might be interested in having conversation lessons with me, look below. I have some links for you. Have a nice day and go give your kid a hug.